Latiya City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
Healthy New Year, everybody. How to stay as healthy next year or healthier. I want you to think about this. What is the number one most important thing you can do to look after and protect your health in 2026? Have a think about that. What do you think? Not a bad answer. So what about this? What about walking? Walking, it's really good for you, right? Good for your health. And now they say, it doesn't seem to be working, mate. Get your 10,000 steps a day, right? Or now they're saying maybe 7,000 steps a day is just as good. So you get yourself a smartwatch or, use your phone and register the number of steps. This talk is about nothing like that. One of the number one things you can do to look after your health next year is walk carefully, walk consciously. So this guy could step into a puddle. Do you think that's a good idea? You don't know how slippery that puddle could be. Facts about falling. 25% of Americans aged 65 and older fall. 95% of hip fractures are caused by falls or involve falls. Look at that, 2.8 million hospital treatments visits in the US with over 27,000 deaths from falling. One of the big dangers in walking, stairs. Stairs are not natural, okay? So they do not exist in nature. So those rock formations exist and you could slide down them on your ass or you could, try to clamber up them on all fours. That would be natural. But walking stairs, not natural. So this is walking upstairs. Better view than most of us get when we walk upstairs. But anyway, this is not so dangerous. You fall walking upstairs, not so terrible. However, walking downstairs. This woman is demonstrating exactly how you do not walk downstairs, okay? You do not look at your phone. You do not have the hand nearest to the rail holding something. I abused Rose about that. She's not here because she's sick and didn't want to spread the germs. You always have your hand nearest the rail, on the rail or free to grab the rail, okay? Do not walk down like this. And even carrying something downstairs, you've got to be careful. So here is one step. One measly step about this big, few inches. Ask George, where is he? Ask George about how dangerous that sort of one step is. He fell down there. I got a call on my phone. I've just dislocated my shoulder walking downstairs. Turned out it was very badly broken. Had to take him to hospital. He was in hospital. And when you get a fall over a certain age, all the maintenance things of your body tend to be diverted to the breakage, right? So the rest of your body can really suffer and all sorts of things are exacerbated. So even though it was his shoulder that was broken, he had all sorts of mobility issues with his legs. And how dangerous is one stair? Les Edmonds, most of you are probably familiar with him. He was chairman of the Expat Club for years. He fell down and had a terrible break walking down one stair. Okay? And he used to mention that he'd had a brown belt in judo where they teach you to fall. And he said, I couldn't fall properly because I was holding something in my right hand. Okay? So there's one lesson to take away. Avoid carrying things while you walk. Get a bag. Pass me my bag, Michael. Get a bag like this that you can put over your shoulder and so you're not carrying stuff in your hand, right? Much more dangerous carrying stuff with your hand if you're walking. Now, I visited Les in hospital and he asked me to start up a GoFundMe page for him to aid his recovery, which I did, and some members of the club were very, very generous in donating to him, and it did help fund him through some of his rehabilitation. You can see some of it there on the right. However, being honest with you, after a certain age, you have a bad fall, your chances of dying within the next 6 months skyrocket. I'd started up the GoFundMe page, but I really thought, you are going to die within the next 6 months. And he did. If he hadn't had that bad fall, he'd probably still be with us. He actually had a very interesting idea that he shared with me once, that if you're going to walk downstairs, you're better off walking backwards down the stairs, which is interesting, mate. It's a bit of sense, because then if you fall, you only fall a little way. But he obviously didn't think that applied to walking down one stair. This gentleman is kindly, again, teaching us how not to walk downstairs. By the way, the woman also had high heels on that was paying no attention to walking downstairs. Guys, leave your high heels at home when you go for a walk, okay? And he should obviously be not on his phone, even if you're just walking on the ground. Do not be on your phone. Stick it in your pocket. Listen to a talking book or something. And your hand needs to be on or near the rail. Mortality rates from fall injuries by age group among older adults in the US. You might notice that the top line is over 85. Les was 86. And so he falls into that category. And you notice that it's gone skyrocketing up. Personally, I think maybe mobile phones might be a contributor, but they also think that it's the medications they're on. So you really want to have a look at your medications and whether one of the side effects of that could be decreased, sense of balance and things like that. The Fulfill Pharma people are nodding over there. Maybe they might say something about that later. But it is a really big issue, obviously. Look at that. More than 1 million Americans sustained injuries on stairs annually, averaging one injury every 30 seconds. Stairs are not natural. All right, and now this gentleman is kindly demonstrating exactly the way we would never even occur to us to walk across the road in Thailand. So, roads and traffic, another danger from walking, okay? This was posted as a meme on Facebook. You can tell when you're paranoid when you look 2 ways before crossing a one-way street. And I put a reply, I live in Thailand. I look 4 ways before I cross a one-way street. I look both ways. I look across the road in case there's some motorbike coming from the pavement. Look behind me sometimes in case there's motorbike trying to get through on the pavement. When there's a newbie in Thailand, I say to them, do you know why I'm walking on the left-hand side of the pavement? They said, no. I say, so motorbikes behind me can pass. Right? And even so, I've almost lost 2 people from, not taking me seriously. I remember one time we were walking along the street in that soy that's very popular with single males. What is that? Oh, soy sex. Soy sex. You've been there, have you? Anyway, and this guy just took it into his mind that he was thirsty and was going to get a bottle of water, and he just went like this. Oh my God, and he was just missed by a motorbike who had right away. It's a road. And I couldn't believe it. Anytime you walk in a straight line, if you're going to deviate off that straight line, you look over your shoulder, right? I can't believe how many people cross, the entrance into condos and they just walk across without looking to see if the car might be turning in. And this paranoia has saved my life at least twice. I remember I was in a suburb in Bangkok and I looked that way, no cars, but of course I looked the other way and there was a motorbike in the gutter driving at about the speed limit in the wrong direction, which would have collected me with a huge force. Traffic in Thailand. Now this is very interesting, and this is only from a few weeks ago. They decided that they could set up pedestrian crossings so that traffic might actually stop for him. And they put flashing lights on the road and stuff. And the mayor turned up to demonstrate that they allowed you to cross the road, and guess what happened? He couldn't cross the road. So, yeah, I drive, I was given a car, and I will see somebody on the pedestrian crossing and I'll look to slow down, but I look in my mirror to see if there's like a motorbike in the blind spot, so they might keep coming and wipe out the pedestrian, and so I tend not to stop. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was on the way here and I stopped for this pedestrian and 2 cars behind me stopped, and yet the car on the inside went at the speed limit through. If the pedestrian had just gone through, it's shocking, you know. You cannot be too paranoid crossing the road in Thailand. It's not paranoia if they really are out to get you, okay? Also this, a bit more than a month ago, a Thai motorbike rider killed a pedestrian at night, but it was a black guy wearing all black. I have some sympathy for the motorbike rider, okay? Do not go around at night wearing all dark clothing. Wear something light, okay? Wear white. Ooh, that's just courting disaster. Now, Barry Canyon, as you know, he died crossing the road fairly recently, and this is where he was crossing the road. He was crossing the road to Pan Pan, and apparently what happened, as Kelvin kindly informed us, is that he got to the median strip and he just sort of lost his balance and fell forward, and a motorbike hit him, and he was 84 and he died later in hospital. Although the newspaper report said died peacefully. It's not my idea of dying peacefully, thank you. But anyway, what I'm pointing this out to you for is, I cross this road quite a bit here. See this? See the pole? If you are crossing the road and you think you have to be on a median strip, target crossing where there is a pole that you can hold while you wait for the next break to go across the road, okay? Target the pole to stabilise yourself. If Barry had heard this talk, maybe he'd still be alive. The other major danger that we're all now has been newly emerged is this overly noisy, overpowered motorbikes. Maybe the worst thing that's happened to Pattaya since I've been here. So I was crossing the road just where I said before, right? And I waited, and there was a break, and the traffic had gone green down there. It was starting to come up the road, and the motorbikes were coming at the normal sort of pace, except for this overly powered motorbike who'd turned his wrist as fast as possible and was coming at 5 times the rate of the other motorbikes, right? So I had to compensate for him, give him the finger on the way through, but I don't think he noticed. I often wonder with the guys, I don't know about other people, but every time I see these guys on these incredibly noisy, overpowered bikes, my first thought is, they're compensating for this, right? You know, they're compensating for being a bit on the small side. I wonder if they realise that people think like that. Anyway, they are a genuine danger to themselves as well. Now, this, Big George has given me permission to show this. This is a video from a security type thing about when he got hit by a motorbike, okay? And he's still in recovery. So thank you, George, for permission to that. He's not here today because he's leaving on a trip tomorrow. It's near the top of the screen, don't worry. And here comes George. That's George. He stops, looks around a bit, looks clear. One bike goes past and bang. Yeah, at speed. Now, I don't know why that accident happened exactly, but here's some photos of it afterwards, including George lying in the street. I believe that, supposedly that's George. And so, one thing you do need to register in Thailand is how easy it is for a motorbike to be blocked from your vision, okay? It doesn't require, we're not used to thinking like this in Australia, but only requires, that motorbike he might not have seen it because it was in the blind spot behind another motorbike, for all I know. I remember once I was doing a U-turn in Jomtien, and there were two people standing on the medium strip, but it's not even proper medium strip really. They were standing in the middle of the road, and I thought, oh, it's all clear, I'll start to do a U-turn. Rose was beside me and said, stop, motorbike. And the motorbike went, and obviously what had happened is the motorbike had changed lanes behind these two people standing on the median strip, right? I couldn't see that. So anytime you can, no matter how small the blockage is, you have to think there could be a motorbike doing any amount of speed in the blind spot. I had a friend, he got permanent brain damage. He was on a motorbike himself. He's crossing Railway Road, and he looks and he sees a car there, but in the blind spot, there's a motorbike accelerating. He got hit, and he has permanent brain damage from that. And that's George. And of course, he's still in recovery from. And before that, he actually broke a leg walking. I think he was walking at night. It's again dangerous because of the lack of light. If you've got to walk at night, take a torch or something. Another huge, huge danger. Bathrooms, okay? Bathrooms are unnatural and they're dangerous. Approximately 80% of senior falls happen in the bathroom, making it essential to implement safety measures like grab bars and non-slip mats. Now, after George got back from out of hospital, he had mobility issues and he was using a walking frame. So I went down to DIY and we covered his bathroom in these excellent non-slip mats. Now, by the way, while I think about this, Herman's a German who we had a talk from Homily a few weeks ago, and he went to live in Homily. What wasn't mentioned was that he had a very bad fall in his bathroom in Homily, and now is in a higher care facility. So these mats this is the underside of them. They're all suction cups, pretty much just suction cups all on the underside, and on the top side there's like bubbles and stuff. They're fantastic, aren't they? And they're 100 baht each. So you can really add these, go down to DIY, buy them 100 baht each, make sure you've got non-slip mats. So fall prevention for elders. Non-slip mats, grab bars, proper lighting, clear pathways, emergency call devices. Very, very important. I met a guy in Australia who said, oh, when I go for a walk, I leave my phone at home. Are you kidding me? They're one of your major safety devices. What about George if he hadn't had his phone with him to phone me up when he fell over? Now, the other thing, I keep mentioning this. If you live by yourself, you must establish a daily check-in group. Maybe on the Line app, 2 other people, at least one has a key to your place. Every morning you check in and go, I'm alive, okay? Just send an emoji, right? Now, because of having this, I was in a check-in group with 3 people. I used to live by myself. And this woman didn't check in. She was a member here, Anne. And she didn't check in, and I thought, well, that's not good. And there was a whole lot of kerfuffle. Like, I contacted her daughter. Have you heard from your mother today? No. So the daughter got a woman from the front desk to go up to the room. They had a key. They left it there for emergencies in the front desk. And the woman comes back and reports to Anne's daughter and says, oh, she's asleep in her bedroom. And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound right. She doesn't sleep at this time. And I didn't have a car at the time, but I took the key to the front door with me. Turned out the woman, the Thai woman on the front desk, had just gone up to the room, opened the front door, seen that the door to the bedroom was closed and went, oh, she's asleep in her bedroom. She had not asleep in her bedroom. She'd fallen down. She couldn't get to her phone, which was in the kitchen. Now, she did get to a hospital that day. Should have been earlier. But if she hadn't been part of that check-in group, she would have starved to death. She would have gone into a diabetic coma, goodness knows. And starving to death is not a good way to die. So, daily check-in group. It's not rocket science. So, Important walk-away takeaways. Avoid carrying things when you walk. Stairs are unnatural. Walk downstairs very carefully. Don't carry things in your hand walking downstairs. Have a hand on the rail. Concentrate. Also, one thing we should do is we should lobby them to put a little handrail on that step. Be paranoid crossing roads. Expect the unexpected. On a median strip, look to hold on to something. Beware of super stupid bikes. Get non-slip mats for your bathroom checked out, Mr. DIY. Consider installing grab rails. If you rent, go and say, look, I will pay for a grab rail, but please help me install one. If you live by yourself, you must establish daily check-in groups. What did it say? 80% of falls, bathrooms, okay? So, what is the number one most important thing you can do to look after your health and make sure it doesn't take a terrible and sudden downturn? Walk consciously, walk carefully. Probably you weren't expecting this talk. You might have been expecting vitamins or something, but we've lost, 2 people. We've had people with permanently impacted health and stuff from walking. Oh, now I did give a talk on other aspects of health and aging. If you can use that QR code to check it out. It's a video on the PCEC YouTube channel. Any questions?
Ren, it's actually an observation. My next door neighbour used to work on Walking Street, smashing beer bottles on his head for entertainment purposes. He fell in his bathroom, slipped and broke his neck and died.
Thank you for that observation. It brings home exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with what you're saying, and this is a personal experience. Don't just rely on your doctor when you have blood work done. Say, this looks okay, this is okay. Learn yourself what the various symbols are and what they mean according to your health. Because I recently found that my kidneys are not doing too good, but my regular doctor has never mentioned that. Everything looks okay, or this is a little low and this is a little high, and that was it. So learn it yourself. Don't depend on somebody else. It's your health.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I was seeing orthopedists as soon as I could walk. I've always had weak and unstable ankles, and exercises that focus, it takes discipline. You need to do it every day, but 2 or 3 minutes of balance exercises a day make a tremendous amount of difference. You could get a wobble board or equipment, but you really don't need that. One good exercise is to stand in a doorway, stand on one foot, and flutter the other foot. Barefoot. Barefoot's very important for proprioception. So take one foot stable, the other foot flutters out. Do that. Start with 25, try to shoot for 50, 2 or 3 times. Another really good, even better balance exercise is stand like a soldier. Again in the doorway. Stand on one foot, shift your weight to one foot, lift your toes on that anchored foot. You will wobble. The point is to wobble, because that's activating your ankle. If you lock everything, you're activating your ankle. And it's made I've sprained my ankle a zillion times. It's made a huge difference in my ankle integrity. And again, it's only 2 or 3 minutes a day, and you'll really, if you do it for like even a couple weeks, you'll see a big difference in your ankles.
Thanks for sharing that. George, did you want to say a couple of words?
As Ren said, I walked down a step that was about, 2 inches.
3 inches.
Definitely 3 inches, and ended up in hospital for a very long time. And when I came out, I'd lost so much muscle mass that I found it difficult to walk. I was walking with a walking frame and had all sorts of problems, and every day I'd walk up and down the corridors with people hanging on to me and helping me, and it's taken a very long time to get right. But it's a mental attitude as far as anything else. You can just give up and die, which people do, or you can say, I'm going to get there and get back, and I just feel so blessed to be alive again.
Well said, George. Yeah. So, very important takeaway. You can also, I suppose, Google balance exercises, probably on YouTube. There'll be some other ones.
Yes, I am another person who wished you had this speech exactly 1 year ago, because since January, I've been in hospital and tried to learn to walk, and I think I've about 40 visits to hospital, and the whole year has been just, and the accident happened with normal walking, the step from the street to a walking area. And my reason was that I needed to go to the toilet very quickly. And the 3-inch tall things, I thought it was 2, or my feet thought it was 2. And I just tripped forward, went 2 more steps, and then it was very slow. And I fell forward and hit the head. I couldn't hold for it, and I had broken the knee, broken the wrist, and had a bang in my head. And of course, it was a lot of people coming there and wanting to lift you up. And at that time, I didn't know that the knee was broken. So it was not very nice to be lifted up and stand on a broken knee. And everybody wanted to call ambulance and wanting to help. And it was very turbulent, and then my own car came and took me to the hospital and was treated there and operated within few hours. So it's everything what was shown today is the truth for many people. Thank you.
My name's Owen. Hello, everybody. Thank you for letting me be part of this group today. I was born with a congenital condition. Both my knees dislocate spontaneously, so I'm one of those people who will fall almost 100% of the time if I walk a certain distance, and I cannot run for that very reason. It's important to know, because most of us travel, that the airlines, if you have a condition that might cause you to be slightly unstable and you might take a fall, the airlines provide wheelchair service. How many of you have ever used the wheelchair service at an airline? I tell you what, if you're over 65, get a little doctor's note. It's amazing. You get priority service, you get whisked through customs on a first basis, everybody else has to wait in line. It's an amazing concierge. And if there is a danger that you might fall over, the airlines are happy to provide it. No one wants a lawsuit in an airport, right? So just know that that is a service that is available to you if you're a little bit elderly like us, and don't be afraid to ask for help if there's a possibility, even a remote possibility that could happen.
Great suggestion, well done, thank you. Oh, one more.
Yeah.
Mr. Hyphen.
Whenever I walk down steps, I always look, because there's always one step that's bigger, and there's nearly always one step that's smaller. And I have bad knees, and they jar sometimes, you know. And here in Thailand, they don't make them all the same width when you're going downstairs. So please, you did mention it, but please look at the steps and be wary of every time you go down. There might be one that's a slightly different size. Yeah.
Good.
Hey.
Oh, and?
Two quick things. One with regards to the wheelchair at airports. You don't need a doctor's note. When you check in, you tell them you need wheelchair assistance. It doesn't matter, you know, your condition, how old you are. They'll just take care of it. Okay. And second thing, talking about walking across streets, I was crossing to Praia near where Barry got killed, and I'm standing on the median, and the traffic stopped because of the red light. So I step in between the vehicles on the first lane, look carefully for Mike's driving down the center line, cross to in front of the second car, look carefully to the left, and I almost get my head taken off by a cube van driving on the outside lane at speed, so you really have to watch it.
You cannot be too careful. I remember lecturing people about this, and I was crossing Tauprior Road, and no, not Tauprior Road, crossing Second Road, and I'm looking like this, right, and then go to the next lane looking like this. I go towards, the gutter, I'm looking like this, and the guy behind me, newbie, decides to jump over the, jump across to the pavement, and he almost gets collected by a motorbike coming up the wrong way up the gutter. It's they don't listen.
The biggest problem I find is distraction. Walking down Soy 6 or Soy Shanapoon, you're not looking at the road, and you're far more likely to fall.
Well, I have two suggestions. One, walk very carefully and offer 100 baht to a woman to take your hand and walk you down the street, okay?
On Soy Shanapoon, they've now put sleeping policemen in to slow the traffic down.
Cool.
But anybody who doesn't know that, as they're walking along the road looking at the bars at either side, they end up falling over the sleeping policeman.
Yeah, what you want to do always is stop and look, okay? Stop and look. I can imagine there are quite a few people stumble over things in Soy 6, I would imagine. Not that I would know. All right. Oh, one more, last one, maybe the last one. But this is such an important topic, all right? Literally costs people their health and lives.
Thank you, Ren. One more thing to be conscious about when walking is don't step on extension cords, okay, if you're in a market, all right, cords running through wire or through water or that. The electric here is terrible, that's the 220, and if you're going to stop and hold onto a pole, touch it with the back of your hand first so you don't grab it, just in case.
That's pretty rare. Often the electric poles may have a light electric thing, but I've never heard of any electric pole having 220 volts electrocuting someone. But yeah, not a bad idea to touch it with the back of your hand first.
Ren, just to add one thing to motorcyclists, like I am in town, be careful, even when the road is clear, when you're attempting to go over things like water pipes, hose pipes, because when you do, they roll. And as soon as the hose pipe rolls, your steering is going in the another direction. And I came off one time just because the gardener was out there doing the gardening and I drove over the pipe. Yeah. 90 degrees, that's the only way you can drive across it.
My biggest suggestion about safe motorbike riding is don't ride a motorbike, hire a Bolt car, okay?
No, you can't do that. You've got to be brave. This is a place that we love living in, and one of the beauties of Pattaya is not sitting in a car in a traffic jam on Second Road.
Yeah. Get out and walk.
You don't have to. You have a motorbike. You just gently go down the side.
If you are already a very highly skilled motorbike rider, consider it. But if you're not already skilled at motorbike riding, do not try to learn motorbike riding on Thai roads.
Well, 25 years of driving it here, and I'm all right, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that went slightly longer, but it's such an important topic. Thanks for everybody who shared. We literally lost 2 very valued members of the community last year because of walking. All right. And just take note, 80% of them happen in the bathroom. Take Mr. DIY.